Most people roll into the Seder and they know this part. So then what's the point? We have to delve deeper to understand what's really going on. Every moment has a theme and every nuance matters. And when you go through it, you come out a different person. So that's what we're going to explore together. The themes, the lessons, the reasons, the purpose. Because that's what this is really all about. The third line is V'nitzak el Hashem. You know how you get yourself out of slavery? You know how you do it? You don't go to a seminar for 3 days so they can teach you time management. That's good, but that's not going to get you out of slavery. You know what's going to get you out of slavery? V'nitzak al Hashem, third line. If you have a chance when you're watching these, see if you can go through the Haggadah with them. You'll see it inside. V'nitzak al Hashem Elokei Avoseinu v'yishma Hashem es kolenu v'yar es onyenu v'es amalenu v'es lachatzinu. You know how you get out of problems? You look up and you go, help me. Help me. V'nitzak al Hashem. What does that mean? Kamoshen Amar. Remember, everything that's happening now is the Chachamim are darshaning these 4 psukim. That's all that's happening, is they're taking the psukim out. V'nitzak al Hashem Kamoshen Amar v'yibam yamahem v'yamas melech Mitzrayim v'yanchu b'nei Yisrael me'avoda v'yitzaku el Hashem. The new king came. It got hard. This happens all the time, by the way, in life. You should know that. This is a great metaphor for life. The first king starts and he works you a little hard. Then the next king comes up and he beats you. Right? The first thing starts, right? It's the first thing. And you start doing things that are not really perfect. Building cities that are godless in your life. And then it gets too hard. And you feel overwhelmed. V'nitzak al Hashem. Hashem says, you know how you deal with your problems? You're my kids. You cry. When you fall off the jungle gym, when you fall in the park, you cry. That's how it works. You need something and you're a kid, you cry. You need something as an adult, you think you're tough. When the little kids need something, they cry. And when a kid cries, mommy or daddy comes running. Because the kid says, I can't. How many times have you seen this with little kids? They're so tough with their friends and this and that. And, they're playing in their little colonies like they're bee colonies. These little 8-year-olds, 9-year-olds, 10-year-olds. You know what I'm talking about? They're all so tough and they figured out the whole world. And then one of them gets a little sick. And they're snuggled in your bed. Or someone cuts their finger. Mommy! Because then he realizes or she realizes, I can't do anything. It's blood. And when mommy and daddy are watching these 10-year-olds operate in their little swarms, they pay back. And the minute they hear that kid cry, boom. Hashem says, you're my children. You get stuck, stop thinking that you can do it all yourself. Cry. Deepen. Humble yourself. Lechem oni. Realize that I'm here for you. I put you in Galus. Anus al pi hadibur. I sent you to Mitzrayim. I sent you to Lavan. I sent you here. I know how hard this is. I know the community you're living in. I know the neighborhood you're living in. I know your background. I know the schools you went to. I know the struggles with your family. I know your life. I put you there. It's not easy. And you're hitting a wall. But cry to me. Recognize you can't solve it. Ask my help. You know what happens when you do? The next line out of this pasuk. V'yishma Hashem es kolenu. I'll listen to you. V'yishma Elokim es na'akasam. We learn. V'yiskol Elokim es brisos Avram Yitzchak Yaakov. Back to the bris. Do you remember we did this? Again and again. This is the setups. You see how this story only works in the previous setups. Remember the setup. The setup of the bris, Baruch Shomer Havtacho, Yoshua, sending people out, saying, this is your part of a story, you remember? I'm bringing you here. You're in Shechem. If you remember, just go back 2 or 3 earlier. You're in Shechem. I'm telling you, you're part of something much bigger. It started with Nahor. It started with Terach, and it came to Avram and Yitzchak. Yeah, now you're here. You're a partner. You raise your hand, V'yisha Amda. I'm not scared. V'yizkor brisa, Hashem says. It's not just you. You're part of the program. You're part of of our family. You've got grandparents. You're in the family. This happens all the time in families. That a kid struggles and feels like he's not enough. And daddy shows up and the kid's thinking like, what are you doing here? And he's like, you're my kid. No, but why are you here for? Because you're my kid. Like, you're in my family. That's why, by the way, sometimes the kids have a hard time when mom and dad are not there. And they're like, I'm your kid. Hashem's saying, Avram, Yitzchak, and Yaakov, remember the family? You're in the family. That's why I'm coming. Not because you're perfect, because you're not. Not because you're right, because you're wrong. But you know what? I put you here. And I'm watching you. And you know why I'm coming? Because you cried to me. Not because you deserve it. Because you're my child. I want to tell you, in my humble opinion, this shift of when we are doing things for Hashem because we want to get close, not because he's Amazon.God, and we trust that Hashem is with us because he loves us unconditionally. It doesn't mean that we take a free pass. But the idea that Hashem is there for us like a father, as Rabbi Levi always says to me, Hashem sees you as a 3-year-old. When we see ourselves as 3-year-olds in life, we begin to build the relationship with him. It's in the Haggadah. This is the narrative. This is why we don't read Shmos. Because when you read Shmos, you may think Hashem loves Moshe, Aaron, and Miriam. He loves the big people. But why would he love the farmers? We're nobodies. We can't even read the lines. The Kohen has to give it to us, and we read the lines. We don't even know it really by heart. That's the whole story if you look in the Mishnah. I think it's the Mishnah tomorrow. V'yaris onenu, the precious derech eretz. You know what the Kodesh Baruch Hu looks at? The derech eretz, the normal relationship between husband and wife, the family. Shnemar v'yar elokim es b'nei Yisrael v'yeda elokim. Hashem looks at your family. He's looking at the house. What are parents davening for their kids? Shalom bayis. They understand the families. V'esam aleinu es habanim. All the things they did to us. They threw the boys into the river. V'eslachatzinu v'zeh hadachak. It's the pressure. Who's thinking about pressure? Who in the world worries about the pressure of somebody else? You think a boss is really worried about somebody's pressure when they come to the office? You know who's really worried about the kids? You're working too hard. You don't eat enough. Who does this? Mom! You don't eat enough. You don't eat enough. You're working too hard. What's with your face? You okay? What, you tired? Did you sleep enough? Who thinks like this? Who thinks like this? Parents. Zeh hadachak, Hashem says. I think like this. You know what I'm worried about? Your families. Precious derech eretz. I'm thinking about the kids and how they're doing. Who's worried about your kids? The politicians worried about your kids? The media's worried about your kids? CEOs worried about your kids? You know who's worried about your kids? Your parents. You know who's worried about you? Your parents. Your grandparents. Your family members. Your uncles, your aunts, whatever. Hashem's saying, if you cry to me, I'm coming. You know why? Because you're my family. And you know what I'm looking at? Vayishma Hashem es kolenu. You know what I'm really looking at? Vayaris onenu es amalenu v'eslachatzenu. You know what that means to me? I'm looking at your family, how you're eating, how you're sleeping, how you're drinking. You're not sleeping well. You got bags under your eyes. You're not taking your medicine. Like, what's up? What are you doing to yourself? Why aren't you doing this? Why are you doing this? What are you worried about all the time? Why are you working so hard? Why are you taking that thing? Why are you relying on them? No? Not our lives? Not the narrative of my life and your life? If we're being straight? Not the physically, spiritually, emotionally, mentally? Pick your spot. Mitzrayim, Lavan, whatever. Haggadah. I put you here. I made you successful. And they worked you. Physically, spiritually, they're working you. And you're not free. You're not free. And don't pretend you're free. Because you have the thing that you can go anywhere you want. You're not free. If you're free, you'd be happy. If you're free, you'd be connected. If you're free, you'd be one with me. You're not free. You're being oppressed. Cry to me. I'm your dad. I'm your mom. I'm watching you. I'm thinking about you. I worry about you. I want you to win. I did this whole thing called Torah because I think this is the best thing. I know this is how you're created. You're a soul. This is going to give you the greatest life ever. Cry to me. That's the third aspect. That's the turning point. Once we turn and realize that this is a family relationship, Hashem loves me. I want to be connected. I want to come home. That's the feeling of the third line. I want to come home. Thank you so much for tuning in and joining us for this series. I hope that you enjoyed, and I hope that it enhances your Seder and brings you closer to Hashem. We have some cliff notes for you in case you want a Seder companion. You can download it. Check out the series and the downloadable stuff at pesach.us, pesach.us. And hope you have a great holiday, and may we see the full redemption soon.